DM today, the DM du jour, Corey. We are returning to the newly dubbed Eberron Coast for the next installment of our, I guess, Arcanoclism campaign. Not really sure what to call this right now. We're kind of in limbo. Last time out, you guys, the party, continued the headlong, apparently blind hurtling towards the finale. Upon reaching the Chamber of the Titans, you guys saw, at least for a brief moment, the elemental titans that had been essentially tethered to the ley lines of the world in order to stabilize the realm. In a series of events that probably everyone could have seen coming if anyone knew anything about anything, the combination of Brew and the spell sink wound up destroying those tethers, and as such, the elemental titans vaporized. At which point,
only we knew. Yeah, if only we could find out about that.
Yeah, right.
I saw it coming. I saw it coming.
Of course you did, Mike. Once the elemental titans had been dissolved, the prime material plane destabilized, and hundreds of those rifts started forming, and the rifts wound up coalescing into this giant being out in the chasm next to the Chamber of the Titans, calling itself the Mockery. It explained that it had been masquerading as the god Tyr this whole time, taking advantage of the discord within the college, and using that to achieve its own ends. You guys were successfully able to defend Hildraith, Varen, and Xantor while they completed a arcane ritual to fuse the spell sink and brew to the ley lines, at which point the plane seemed to stabilize. After some discussion down there in the Chamber of Titans with the three mages, you guys took a short rest and then headed above ground to find that the city of Neverwinter was burning. After a period of time of trying to figure out what to do, helping out in ways that you could, you guys went up hearing and finding out through various expeditions from the cartography guilds this new landscape, hereby dubbed as the Eberron Coast. And that's pretty much where we left off last time. I have a bunch of stuff written up for each of you guys based on the things that you told me your character might want to do. Is there anything you guys want to do as a group before doing any of these things? And who wants to go first in the stuff that they came up with, I guess?
After that harrowing near-death experience, I'm up for getting super fucking.
Okay.
Yeah, group vote.
Why not?
All right, we got one vote.
Yeah. Did you have a place in mind?
Here's good. So I just crack open a wineskin.
Works for me. Fuck it.
Have the fires kind of pattered out?
Yeah. At this point, we're kind of we're just past like the crisis management part,
Okay.
and now we're into like the beginning stages of rebuilding and figuring out what's going on now.
Should we see if there's a place in this new part of the city?
Couldn't hurt to make new friends.
I hate you guys. Hang on,
3 minutes into the game, and we've already.
We've derailed him. We have accomplished our mission
by
for
saying,
the day.
"Hey, you know what? Let's not go to the usual bar where we get free drinks."
No,
are.
by no one. First of all, Jay, you're the first person who gave me stuff you wanted to do, and the first thing you say is not even close to anything on the list of things you gave me.
Well, we're gonna get to that. You asked, "What are we gonna do together?"
I asked if there's anything you wanted to do together.
Yeah, and the answer was get fucking drunk.
Find the closest semi-serviceable bar and close it down.
Yeah, actually, you know what, guys? I'm kind of feeling a beach setting. Is there kind of like a beach club,
All
a
right.
tiki bar?
Anyone who wants to spend some time carousing as a member of the party, go ahead and roll a D100. Each of you who are doing it.
55.
Perusing.
59.
Oh, you get 4 drunker than me.
17.
Light, wait.
19.
Okay, so let me do some quick math here. Okay, so Stock, you regain consciousness in a strange place with no memory of how you got there, and you find that you are missing 35 gold pieces that you either spent or dropped or something.
Oh my god, it's the hangover. We have to find Stock, guys.
Xanalor, you managed to earn some modest winnings from gambling, and you recuperate your lifestyle expenses for the day. You actually do the same, Vendy. You somehow managed to win in gambling.
Oh my god, I was able to win a bronze piece. Wonderful.
Nevis, you also regain consciousness in a strange place. As you wake up, you realize that it's not that strange. You're just really hungover, and you're in the alley very close to your forge. And you're missing 15 gold pieces that you either spent on the booze that has since addled your mind, or you dropped it, or someone dropped it off of you.
Or you got some bomb ass tacos you just don't remember eating.
Other than the gold, I'm not missing anything else?
Correct.
Okay.
Has anyone seen Stock?
All right.
Borax does all the time.
Let's retrace her steps. If we were a giant elastic-armed fighter, where would we go?
While they're looking for me, I'm heading back to the Titan chamber, because that's the last thing I remember.
Okay.
That's the last thing you remember?
Yep. Coming out of the Titan chamber, and then black.
I thought there's a long time of us doing stuff to help the immediate threat to the city.
There was.
That's
Or
how
for me,
fucked up I got.
wandering around.
That's what I'm just going with.
Man, that was one hell of a bender.
Well, I think he's gone.
Yeah.
Roll for new character.
Not all characters leave in an explosion of excitement. Some just leave because they got too drunk the night before.
Stock, as you drunkenly wander towards where you believe you remember the Chamber of Titans to be, you think that you took the ferry to the college, but really you just walked across a couple people's boats, and you wound up outside a building that's like available for sale, and you have a thought. I should start my own adventurers guild.
I'm gonna do this.
We should totally start our own bar.
What does this building look like?
It's it looks like it's a building made out of wood and brick. It's a fairly modestly sized building. As you gain access to the building,
I'm breaking into a
inside
building.
there's a small bar, sort of a dining area, and you look around and you see that there's like a second floor and a basement that have accommodations for like food storage, as well as um, like some small like repair type bays, like for places to like repair armor and weapons and things like that, and also some living quarters on the second floor.
So I essentially found the Costco attached to a shopping mall.
You found an upscale ragged flagon.
Okay. So I'm on a drunken bender, get the bright idea to start my own adventuring guild, break into a building. Now I need to go quest for a real estate agent.
Go ahead and make a perception check for me with disadvantage.
I mean, in my head canon, I imagine pulling out a piece of paper and a pen, because this is out, and stamps it on the door.
Mine. Perception, you say?
Yeah.
Comes to a total of 7.
7. Okay. So you start wandering around the streets, searching for someone wearing a red blazer. And you eventually realize that you've walked past that building that you want to purchase multiple times, whether subconsciously or you're just drawn to it because you're like, I want this thing. Someone find me walking towards this thing. But eventually you do wind up finding there was a sign in the front window of this establishment that gave a name of the real estate agent and basically like an address of where you could find them.
After all that, I'm just going to sit in front of this place for a little while and try and sober up.
Okay. Alrighty. Let's see here. Why don't you guys go ahead and roll a d20, and we'll kind of do some things back and forth here a little bit, because there's multiple things that everyone wants to do.
Holy shit, natural 20.
Adult stock too, or no?
I rolled an 8. What?
Yeah.
We're just rolling.
No, just a 20.
I wasted a natural 20 on order of events roll.
I got a 6.
You said you had an 8, Xanor?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Nevis, what'd you roll?
I think he.
I'm just continuing to have technical problems here. I got dropped out of Discord.
Oh, okay. What was the last thing that you heard?
Red Blazer.
Oh, okay. So I'm just having you guys roll a d20 just to kind of establish an order where we might wind up switching back and forth a couple times, since there's multiple things that each of you guys want to do.
3.
3. Okay. All right. So with that, where is this at? Okay. So Vendi, as you wake up with your small windfall from gambling last night, you're feeling pretty good. You decide that the carousing was a success, so now you want to kind of get down to business, defeat the Huns, so to speak. And are you muted?
Nope. Just don't want to sing Donny Osmond
Oh, gotcha.
at an incredibly high volume.
Okay. All right. So you report to the chambers of the steward to kind of start trying your hand at being an advisor to the steward of Neverwinter. as you arrive, Stuart Neal's mayor, he welcomes you into his chamber. He says to you, "Look, before we really get started with anything, I wanted to sort of address something that I've been thinking about with you. The breeze home that you and your compatriots are staying in. I think at this point you've probably spent more time there than even I have. So what I want to do is to gift you and your party that breeze home.
Ooh, the taxes will have to kill us on that.
But
No, do it.
yeah, I mean, I understand that it will probably come with at some cost, progressive transfer of ownership and things like that. We can hammer out the details at another time. But with everything that's happening, Neverwinter won't be able to continue feeding you as we have.
What the? How will we eat?
You have a house, and that comes with its own set of headaches. So that business out of the way. We've got a number of issues, obviously, plaguing the city right now. We have a lot of people here that aren't from here, and a lot of people that were from here aren't here anymore, as the city kind of got split in two. What are your thoughts on how we should manage this?
First and foremost, probably telling individuals who just happened upon our plane of existence through no fault of their own might not be the best optics that we want, and is probably going to start a riot if you catch my drift. Actually, no, there's no subtext to that. If you keep on saying that you don't belong here to people who have no control over where they're at right now, you're going to fucking start a riot.
Sure. Yeah, I just said that they weren't from here. I didn't mean that they don't belong here. As it's become evident over time that they're not going anywhere.
No,
This
so
wasn't temporary.
But here's the thing: is trying to say where somebody is from, where they belong, and all this kind of stuff. It's going to be mired together. And the first thing that we have to do as a leadership council is make sure that you say, hey, guess what? We're in weird times, but the only way we're going to get through this is together, and welcome them in as Neverwintonians.
Why not rename the city?
I mean, I always thought that Uvendertown would be really, really great, but I don't think that's what you're looking.
It's not. I think that that's something that we should put on our to-do list. I think that in order to make everyone feel as welcome after as large of a jarring incident as occurred, renaming the city may be in our best interests. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Obviously, Uvendertown, probably not.
I mean, if you wanted a real one, is something that we could end up using is a mixture of the cities. Maybe Winter's Haven. It sounds really cozy, great for tourism.
It's not a bad first take.
Yeah. Well, technically, it's my second take, but the first take was.
The first take was bullshit. You're right.
Ah, man, I can't wait to talk about you behind your back.
Another large hurdle that we face. I have the former ruler of Fairhaven, Queen Arala Irwinarn, was in the part of the city that was not spliced. Now the people of Fairhaven are needing to understand the culture and the politics of Neverwinter and of myself. There have also been rumors that I've heard from the former Fairhaveners that there was in Eberron, as I'm understanding it was called, there was an underground movement to overthrow the crown in Fairhaven. prior to the Arcanoclism. So I want to figure out what it is we can do to be that preferable leader that they were looking for.
I mean,
Obviously, they were unhappy with Queen Arala.
I mean, I don't think that we're going to be able to solve this without talking to them first. So maybe trying to find a representative body speaking about the shortcomings of their style of government and suggesting ways in which we can create a advisory board so that while we don't give up the executive powers of Winter's Haven, we still make the appearance that we are listening. And on occasion, in social, mild economic strategies, let them have a few things go their way. But on the same end here, their success is our success. But on the same end, if we don't succeed, then what's the point of the merger?
You're going to do well at this.
Bendy found his calling.
Okay, so things that you have suggested are to create another branch, essentially, of the government.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, there's one more thing I should suggest before we continue on.
Mhm.
And that is making some pragmatic laws about the flow of information and making sure that the public can access things. For example, who works in the government, our successes and our failures. The more I believe our individuals are able to get information and trust that what we're doing, while not infallible, is always trying, they ends up giving us more leeway in the long run.
so you want to sort of increase the detail maintained by the public, the Hall of Public Records.
Let's just say, recently I found out that I was in a situation where I longed for, and information was a currency that not many of us had access to. And that created a few headaches. These headaches could be absolved, jobs could be created, and longing for freedom becomes freedom itself if you give them outlets. If you catch my drift. If you
I
want
think,
the nitty gritty details, I'm very, very happy to give them to you. But you're going to look at me like there's no way that's true.
No, I think that that's something that can be arranged. We could sort of expand the powers of the Hall of Public Records. An official from there could be present at council meetings and could keep track of the motions that you or I, that you suggest and I enact, as well as sort of the meeting minutes, so to speak, of these this Fairhaven advisory board. This
Winter's Haven.
Winter's Haven, because it's going to obviously, as an advisory board, it would need to consist of members from both sides of their former cities. How one issue that we do face is trying to find out exactly who's left from the former Neverwinter and the former Fairhaven.
Are you telling me that it's time to census?
It's quite possible.
At this point, I grab a whole bunch of blank pieces of paper.
All right. So I'm Vendi. I'm going to in the here in the Protector's Enclave, there is a guild that sort of works in accompaniment with the the guild that allows the bounty postings to be made. I'm going to put you in touch with them, and you guys can figure out how best to get this census out. And we will get that information hopefully in the next coming weeks. I suppose there's some sort of deadline that should be placed, so that way people don't hold out on telling us how many live in their homes, or I guess how many homes there are. Okay, I think that we've made some great strides here. Last time you and I spoke, you had a lot of questions about my former advisor,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Moonweaver.
He was the last successful one you had, apparently.
Yes. I'm not sure where he went. And I'm not sure where he lived. I don't know if you know this about Olamah Moonweaver, but he was a very secretive man. He never held events in his home. Should he have entertained guests, he would rent out an establishment similar or akin to the Winking Whale over in Blue Lake. So because of that, no one knows which house he lived in. So we're going to pause there for you, Vendi. You've got kind of a lead, and we'll come back to that, all right?
As I have a census montage.
Yes. All right. So up next is Xanalor. Why did I name two things notes? I'm so stupid. Okay. All right. So there was a number of things that you wanted to do, Xanalor. Is there something that you would like to do first?
That's difficult. What do I want to do first? I want to see if I can. No, that's stupid. I don't want to do that anymore. First thing I want to do is try to learn how to use my carpenter's tools.
Okay. All right. So you kind of you look around, you ask around, and a local carpenter by the name of Ervin Ottfried is taking on apprentices to help speed up the rebuild/recovery efforts in Neverwinter/Fairhaven, Winter's Haven, as we may be calling it. He's a member of the Laborers Guild, which includes carpenters, masons, and wet works workers, which is sort of like a precursor to plumbing. He is relatively new to working on his own. He's only had about 5 seasons since he started his own business. He is as technically skilled as you might expect, but as you kind of learn about him and talk with him, you come to learn that his work with like joining wood, like joints, is highly praised. What is it that you're trying to learn proficiency with carpenter's tools?
Yes.
Okay. So that is going to be a whole thing.
It can happen over time.
It's definitely going to happen over time.
Come back to it now and then, but
yeah. So it basically the way it works to learn a new proficiency is there is a cost to the time that this master needs to spend teaching you. And there's also obviously a time component. It takes 10 days to learn a skill or learn a proficiency.
Okay.
I'm trying to find exactly where that is. I don't remember. Oh, okay. What's your intelligence modifier?
I believe it is 0. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so 10 days, and it's going to cost 25 gold per 10 day. Okay. What else would you like to do? So obviously that was actually the first thing on my list.
Cool. I
Um,
want to go back to the college
mhm.
and talk with Baron about the Metal Man.
Okay.
Because I won't let go of that.
Right. Okay. So you go back to the college and you meet back up with Varen. And so Varen welcomes you into his office. And he says, Zanelor, it's been a number of weeks. How have you been?
Just adjusting to the new reality. I hope things are, I guess, better here in the college.
Well, I don't know if you could tell on your way in or not, but the college has sort of seen where did I put that? Sort of seen an increase and a sharp uptick in enrollment. Almost all of the former members of Hildraith's organization have returned to the colleges throughout the Sword Coast. So there's been
Have
yeah.
you mended that relationship?
I think that there are still tensions between Hildraith and myself. That sort of that old sort of rivalry never really dies. We've definitely been working very closely with each other, though, Xantor as well, and there's been some heated discussions as well as more calm and effective discussions. But the three of us, Fenyan Elwarin, who is the headmaster at the Luskan Mages College, and in some capacity, Ivelios Liedon of the Mages of the Tempest. We've all been working together to figure out what to do with the Conclave of Prestidigitation. Obviously, their actions are reprehensible. Such a mishandling of information led to well, we're not even sure what happened to the people who were in the other half of Neverwinter. But there were, many deaths throughout the city on both sides of the new city when suddenly there was, a city in a place where it wasn't before. And all of this probably could have been avoided if they had not hidden the fact that those Titans were down there in the first place.
Do we know who leads the Prestidigitators?
It's a council of sorts. There's really no leader. They are a board of mages who their purpose was to be an advisory board to the mages colleges at some point. Obviously, after the Cataclysm, there was a gross misuse of power that just led to them gaining more power. The names. I don't have that information actually.
That's fine.
But you'll probably be pleased to know that the Conclave of Prestidigitation in its current form will be dissolved. Those mages will no longer be working in advisory roles, and they.
I'd be interested to know where they're going, if you could share that when that happens.
That's still being worked on. Exile is high on our list. Hildraith specifically is pressing very hardly very, very hard for exiling them. Somehow finding a way to strip them of their link to the arcane, provided we put them in places where they don't have the spell books and don't have access to spell scrolls. They would theoretically only have access to the cantrips that they know.
So one thing I haven't been able to get my mind off of is that metal man.
Yes. It's interesting that you should bring that up. And as in, I guess I probably should have said this before, but on your way into the College of Neverwinter, you noticed flying boats with like brightly with these like two rings around them that shone brightly with some sort of energy, were moored to the College of Neverwinter. So Varen, he says, it's kind of funny that you should mention the Metal Man. He's not been far from my thoughts lately either. I'm sure you noticed on your way in the airships that are new to the region, being docked here at the Mages College. We are currently looking into. We're doing research on how they work exactly. A lot of the people that crafted them did not make their way to the Sword Coast.
Just showed up.
Essentially, where they were at the time, they were just in the air, and then suddenly they were in the air over an area that they didn't recognize. They, from speaking with the operators of the airships, they are typically docked at a tower in a region that they call the Chalice Center, which you may have noticed is a now ruined tower that sort of stands right on the dividing line where Neverwinter and Fairhaven meet. Roughly half the tower made it over.
The wrong half, then.
Essentially, yes. So in the meantime, the Liranda airships are currently docked here. We're working on figuring out how it is that they fly. However, I noticed during my research some similarities between some of the arcane signatures on them and on Metal Man. So at the very least, right now, I believe that the Metal Man may have come from Eberron sometime during the first cataclysm. As far as getting him up and running again, I'm sure that discovering the key to the power of these airships will be bring us very much closer. So bear with us just for a little longer. We're continuing this research on these airships, and once we have information on how they're powered, I will definitely let you know, and we can talk about how that might be used for the Metal Man.
That's perfect. And then I just want to, in the college, find wherever the books were.
Okay.
And find a couple books on flight.
Okay.
With them.
And just what?
Just walk out with them.
Okay. Yeah, so you're able to gain access to the library that Vendi spent a considerable amount of time in before the Arcanoclism. You do find a couple books on flying. Some of them discuss the spell flying. And so you're able to grab those and take them. There does appear to be... go ahead and make an Arcana check for me, actually.
Ooh. Yep, it's a 1.
Okay, that's okay. This is really to type for you. You're not an arcanist. And so yeah, you take the books. Seems like a perfect crime. All right. With that, we're gonna pause on Xanalor, and we're gonna switch over to Stock again, real quick.
You gave me a really fucked up thought, man.
What did I do?
So the tower got cut in half, right?
Yeah,
Which means there's a high probability people got cut in half.
it's possible.
There are half bodies all over the fucking cities right now.
Yeah. I mean, I never at any point indicated that sunshine and fucking daisies popped out of those rifts.
Yeah, you did. That's what I named the doggies. Sunshine and Daisy.
All right. So, Stock, you wind up finding the realtor, the person who owns the lien on the building. And so basically, they're willing to transfer ownership of the building to you for 75 gold pieces. The cost is as such because it is a building that is
shit.
zoned for business. Were it a house, it probably would cost less.
Alrighty, 75 gold pieces removed.
Okay. So what do you want to do now on your adventure to create this adventuring guild? What's the next thing you need?
Next thing I'm gonna need is probably either employees or assistants getting it into livable condition from current existing people that I know.
Can you clarify that last point for me?
Well, seeing as this place has the facilities to repair weapons and armor, as you said, I could get Nevis and get his input on what needs to be done with the weaponsmithing and armory portions of this structure to get it in a working condition.
Okay.
Then, since Xanalor is off learning to be a carpenter, I can tap him for have at it and practice all you want here.
Okay.
And Vendi, being a newly minted advisor and person of influence within said city, I can use him for people.
All right.
I'll stamp things.
Yeah. So
we'll let him
okay.
use it as a census, starting point.
Yeah. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna find you some employees first. Okay. And then we're gonna address something that has to do with some stuff that a lot of you guys are working on. All right. So where is that at? It's gonna be here.
By the way, which one of us is the friend that has a pickup truck so we'll get asked to help people in this game?
You're the shape-shifting druid.
Yeah, but I don't want to be a beast of burden.
Is there a used car lot?
Well, I still have that horse and wagon anyways.
That's true. Okay. So, I know that you already have this information, Mike. I'm going to read it out loud because not everyone does.
Go for
so
it.
you go to the one place that you know of off the top of your head that has people for hire. You go to the Winged Wyvern in the Protector's Enclave. The Winged Wyvern is a common adventurer's bar. The tavern is usually full of people who are coming back from or getting ready to head out on, adventures. And today is no exception. You walk into the Winged Wyvern. What do you do to convey that you are looking to hire adventurers?
That'll be easily. Well, let me see who's here. Does anybody look like they're actively interested in finding jobs at the moment, or is everybody just kind of processing the clusterfuck that's going on?
So I mean, you've been in the Winged Wyvern a few times. You've definitely spent some time people watching there. actually every time you've been there, you've spent time people watching, if I remember correctly. The bar is always full of people in people exist on that spectrum, right? Of like just, taking the piss, looking for work, decompressing, there's a whole spectrum there. And there is never a shortage of people on any point of that spectrum. And some people are at one point on the spectrum and all they need is an offer for a job to shift to a different point.
Okay.
And you've seen this happen. So like, that like these things happen pretty fluidly. But I guess really my question is how does stock navigate the difference between usually trying to kind of sit just under the radar to needing to kind of be the center of attention for a minute in this bar?
I'm gonna do something in true stock fashion, and I'm gonna go to the barkeep and essentially pay him to put up a notice of the formation of a new adventuring guild with location.
Okay. So what's the name of your guild?
I believe it's Stocks, Adventure, and Adventuring.
No, that's just what I named the
I
note.
know. I have to think on a name real fast.
Okay, yeah. I mean, take your time.
I'll
Pick
let
one
you
you
know
like.
when I come up with something.
Yeah. Okay. So you give Patroclus Flusham the I can't believe I pulled that name out of my ass. I didn't even have to look that up. But that was the name of the half elf bartender at the Winged Wyvern. So you give Patroclus the name to be determined of your establishment and where it exists, and that you are hiring adventurers. And so you go back over the course of a couple of days. There's a few people that come, but the ones that you wind up picking, kind of liking the most, first is Biro Aruana. He is a well-intentioned elf druid who is from a broken home, who you hired because you think it's funny that he can't swim. There is Mishan Quixfarg. She is a decisive dragonborn fighter, which you liked, who is from a cursed village. She has no family, but the family that she creates in whatever guild she's a part of. So you immediately liked her kind of. Her loyalty, basically. She's got a good skill set. She's driven, and she's intensely loyal to the family that she finds, basically. Elaine Elderberry. She is a cynical halfling paladin from an enchanted forest who adventures because she saw her whole family consumed by a gelatinous cube. Being the fact that there are halflings, it doesn't necessarily need to have been a particularly large gelatinous cube, but it did eat the whole family. The next person that you wound up taking on goes simply by Baracus. He is a broad-minded tiefling fighter from the city sewers. He lived somewhere either near the Undercity or like something similar to the Undercity. And he basically adventures because he loved, lost, and never loved again. So he's got to fill the time with something else. Kaylin Celaverin is she is a motivated half-elf barbarian, which is kind of one of the reasons why you took her on. And she's from the Dusty Mountains. And another one of the reasons why you really liked her is because she offered to arm wrestle you during the interview in order to settle a dispute between barbarians and fighters, which was better. And so basically, you guys went and had that arm wrestle. And after an hour of back and forth, no one won. But you liked her moxie, so you hired her on. The next person was Anvindir Egil. He is a quick-tempered human bard from the Sealed City who wants to one day own his own ship and sees your adventuring guild as an opportunity to make the coin to make that purchase. The last individual is Frug Ninjal. He is a methodical gnome sorcerer from an orphanage workhouse who suffers from claustrophobia. Again, you found that funny, so you hired him on.
Okay.
All right. So those are your guildmates. What I want to address now, so Stock is going to come to all of you guys to kind of discuss some ways that like he may be able to tap you for help in this new business that he's running. Do I have everyone here? Dad, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So what I want to address right now is the idea of training, right? Xanalord, you're being offered an apprenticeship with a carpenter who has the skill to teach you proficiency in carpenter's tools, and you're also being offered an opportunity with Stock to practice. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to knock 3 weeks off of your training. And the other thing that I want to address is the time that you guys are spending. Like, this is all essentially downtime, right? I don't know, Stock, if you have any more sort of lesson ideas prepared, but we're going to finish Nevis's training for martial weapon proficiency.
Okay.
During this time, you guys are able to kind of take care of this. As is always kind of assumed when we're doing downtime activities, you guys have forged a bond. I know that there's a lot of there's still some things that are being reserved, I want to say, not necessarily kept, but reserved. So you guys are definitely individualistic and you do your own thing, but you also check in. You guys live in the same place, basically. So yeah, Nevis, you have proficiency in martial weapons. I'm going to have to figure out how to do that on your character sheet. That might be something that I wind up having to do. I will look into it after the game, though.
All right.
That being said, also, Stock, you finished learning how to do leatherworking.
Woohoo!
I'm going to... We have a long time, basically. The time is going to be kind of fluid in this time. Xanalor, you will have gotten enough time to get proficiency in carpenter's tools. Again, I will figure out how to do that for you. And when Borax is able to join us next, he will have finished his training in religion check proficiency. So, you guys are all at the Breeze home. Stock's kind of gathered you to give you his elevator style Shark Tank pitch on how you guys can help him with his new business.
And for that reason, I'm out.
And for that reason, tell me more.
Free stuff. All of it. I don't know. I'm just making shit up as we go, man.
Can I roll to see how mesmerized I am by just
By just what?
by the words he's using? If he just hits enough buzzwords, like I'm in. He says things like synergy, limited liability corporations, IPOs.
If I get in on this, I'm gonna need a royalty deal.
So I rolled a 5, whatever I needed to add to it, but I rolled a 5.
Yeah, I'm going to say that you're pretty much all in on this. You're excited that Stock has an idea for something constructively destructive, actually.
Yeah, as long as I'm not the target of the adventure.
Yeah.
Long story short, any of us are going to be equal partners, so.
I would, so we kind of just like hit on it in kind of vague details. Why don't you go ahead and actually like have that conversation with your party members?
Okay. So, on my drunken adventurings, I had this brilliant idea when I saw this wonderful building that I proceeded to break into of starting an adventurers guild.
Don't tell me that detail, please.
Well, I own the building anyway, so I can't really break into something I own.
All right, cool, we're good. Continue on.
But the idea is that seeing as we are rather adept at saving the world, as we have done it numerous times, specifically within this city, I decided that it would be fair to share my talents and any of yours that are willing with the up-and-coming adventurers of the world with this new and exotic world we have. It gives us the chance for having a safe haven, a tax shelter, and the availability of information and recruits in a easily accessible manner for the future profitability of our livelihood.
So
I'm
to-
in. I have one. Yeah, I have one condition. Before I give you my money, it has to have a cool ass name.
You don't have to give me any money because you guys are all the original party, so any of you that decide to be partaking get equal share.
It's sort of a mentorship of young adventurers, and we get a cut of what they earn.
Exactly.
But what am I going to do with this bag of money I'm holding?
I'll tell you in a little bit.
All right, cool.
See, you've already got the mentoring thing down.
Look, just tell me where I need to sign.
Just put your name above the door. I don't care. Pick a post. Scratch it in the bar for all I care.
I'm in.
Whenever we see the building, that's what we're gonna do. Carve our names into the door.
Yeah. I'm also going to carve in a bunch of names that aren't ours.
Make
To
it look
make
like it's a guild with a lot of history.
Yep.
Yes. Here was the best night of Keith's life.
I'm spitballing names, but I either have the Storm of Genesis or the Rebellion of Alchemists. I'm still spitballing names. This was a drunken bender, guys.
Okay. All right. Xanalor, what about names?
It's a team effort.
I was thinking along something like, "We hit, you pay."
That'll be the
Let's
motto.
be real on the nose about what we do.
That'll be the motto.
It'll be on the bottom of the business card. We hit, you pay.
Very good adventurers guild.
I mean, I was trying to skirt the Parks and reference, but you went right for it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
VGAG? VGAG.
Yeah.
Horde of White Valor.
Sounds like you're the creatives.
I don't
Oh,
know.
We could call it the Discount Dungeon Delvers. But here's the thing: we don't actually discount anything.
Or we just advertise a price that we never charge. And say
Yes.
that cutting. We're making a deal.
Midnight Monkeys.
Yeah, like
Midnight.
once a month we go like, hey, guess what? Our adventures are 33% off, but we just hike the price up whatever that 33% off would have been.
I don't know.
So
We'll keep
we're essentially calling it going out of business.
Yeah. Our adventurers guild will be known as the Furniture Store Liquidation.
The Lost Spades.
So Nevis, Stock, he came to you about trying to find out what needed to be done to like get the repair bays in the basement kind of up and running. That in order to do in-depth repairs, they'll probably need to bring it to your forge, but you are able to create some tools where they can do minor repairs to weapons and armor at the guild. That way you don't have to spend time on other projects that you might be doing or working on for Aldine or whatever, just repairing like a 10-minute thing to repair somebody's weapon. Like somebody else can fucking handle that.
4 Gen X. Got it.
Stock. Before we switch to Nevis, do you want to try one of these adventures?
Sure, let's pick one.
All right, go ahead and choose your DC. So you can choose 10, 15, 20, or 25.
Let's go middle of the road with a 15.
15. Okay. So, first, go ahead and roll an athletics check for me.
Okay. That is a 12.
12. Okay. All right. So now I want you to make a strength check using weapon proficiency.
So strength plus weapon. How do you want me to do that? You just want me
So
to
it'd be
do my
your
hit DC?
um
Because that is my strength modifier plus my proficiency.
yeah, do that.
Okay. That's a 10.
Okay. All right. And now you get to choose between an investigation, survival, or intimidation check. Your choice. You can pick one of them.
Investigation, survival. It's going to be intimidation.
Okay.
And I critically failed that one.
Okay. So
These
so
dice are communist.
on your first adventure, you are critically wounded during the adventure, and you wind up being hospitalized. So you chose 15, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it actually costs you 100 gold pieces in like hospital bills, essentially for your week or for your month actually in the hospital, because it's 1 week for each 25 gold pieces of fine.
I almost died, guys.
Yeah.
Should we take a second to rethink this guild?
Go throw it away.
Maybe we should have like a training camp to get people close to your level.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. These guys were kind of squishy.
That's
Like,
how
like-
you train.
Yeah,
Go
like
and almost die.
here's an idea that I had, and stop me if you heard this one before. We're gonna take people out to that island city of Thornhold, and we're gonna make them live on the beach there for 39 days, and all we're gonna give them to eat is a half a cup of rice per day, and they have to find all the rest of their calories. And then let's say every 3 days we make them do physical challenges and solve puzzles to see how smart they are when.
Is the half cup of rice before or after you cook it?
It's try weight. Yeah.
Go play.
But
So we're just gonna
but
sauce them?
every 3 days, all those individuals have to get together and vote one of them out, and they can't join the Adventurers Guild until eventually we have one sole adventurer and they join.
Let's go
Don't
get
we
File.
Don't we want a whole team though?
Look, here's the deal: we'll run this multiple times a year, and then we'll televise it. Well, they don't have TVs then, and then we'll have people scry into it, and it'll be this great reality show.
Scry into it. How many people are capable of scrying? What benefit would that be?
Well, we can make money from the advertising.
Oh, the advertising.
Yeah, like every once in a while, one of us goes like, "Hey, by the way, guys, drink at the Winking Whale," and then they pay us money.
The people scry?
Yes, well, the Winking Whale because we gave free advertising.
To 4 people who know how to scry and know that this is happening.
That's 4 people that the Winking Whale wasn't already reaching.
We'll just put a pin in that one.
All right, cool.
All right. So as Stock gets out of the hospital, we're gonna switch focus to Nevis. Nevis, you gave me a couple of things that you wanted to check on. Which one would you like to do first?
can see that there's noise coming from you, but once again, Discord is fucking.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
I can right now.
Okay. So there was a couple things that you gave me that you wanted to do. Which one would you like to do first?
I'd like to go check on my parents.
Okay. All right. So, Nevis, you pack up some supplies and you head out to the north of Neverwinter a few days to a farm just outside of Blackford Crossing. Yeah, Blackford Crossing, which is about a day outside of the city of Luskan. As you walk up the dirt and stone path from the aging but well-kept fence gate that sits on the end of the road to the family farm, you see two familiar humans working at various tasks around the farm. During your walk up, you see Estelle Ossicants stop milking a cow to stand up and stretch her aching back. You spot your father, Frank, out in the distance, tending to the fields, stop to have a spit, and pull out a rag to wipe his sweat-covered brow. You see Estelle catch a glint of your armor as you walk up the road, and you hear her shout something indistinctly to Frank. He puts down the tools that he was using and starts to make his way to the front of the house where the long road that you walk up ends. As you approach, you notice a distinct smile on their faces. Frank shouts out, "Son, it's been a little while. Glad to see that you're still carrying yourself well."
Yeah, it's been too long, Da. Glad to see you guys are all right too with everything that's happened lately.
Um, things did get a little hairy there, but luckily, all those rumors of what we've heard happening in the cities and in Neverwinter didn't affect us out here on the farm too much. So it's just been business as usual. How did you and your forge fare in all that?
I did okay. Better than okay in some instances. The forge, I don't know. I haven't been by there yet, but hopefully that will be intact. If not, we might be changing locales with that anyway. I've got some sticks in the fire, some pokers in the fire to use a forge term, and I might be branching out. So things are good. How's everything back here on the farm?
Your comment about having some pokers in the fire. Your mother she chimes in and she says, "Well, that was always you having so many things that you were working on at once. It's good to hear that hasn't changed." Your dad, he says, well, things around the farm have, been as good as they can be. We've, we had a few farm hands that have kind of come and gone. We're hiring some new ones now. At a certain point, not too many seasons from now, we'll probably have to look to either sell the farm or hire some help on full time. Getting a little old to be doing this myself. Your mother keeps complaining about her back every afternoon after milking the cows in the morning. So I'm getting a little tired of hearing that. So have you been working during this time? Has Aldine been keeping you busy?
Actually, I've been adventuring.
Oh.
Yeah, we kind of started and finished this whole mess that the rest of the land is in. Without going into too much detail, I think I'm ready to just have some downtime and help you and Mom here on the farm for a while. spend a couple of days here, maybe a week or so, and just give you a hand.
Can't say no to free labor.
There's some things around here that you could use my hand at mending for you.
Yeah, it's been a few months since your last visit, if I count the time correctly. So there's been a few things that could probably use your deft touch. And your so your dad kind of takes you to sort of the barn where they keep some of their larger tools and things like that, and points you in the direction of some things that need mending. There's some stuff that you see that the actual working part of the tool is in fine repair. It's really like that the haft is splitting or something like that, so it just needs some new like a new handle riveted in or things like that. So you kind of you get to work working some logs to make into handles, and getting some things using some of your tools and nails and things like that you carry with you all the time to affix those things. And yeah, so you spend a couple weeks or you spend a week or two, really as long as you want, on the farm, just kind of helping out. You note that your presence on the farm is definitely welcome, as they're in between farm hands right now. So you've kind of given them an opportunity to lighten a load on themselves enough to actually like find and hire some people. So the last couple of days that you're on the farm, you actually see some of the new farm hands coming in. It's the typical young guy who needs a job because he's too old to live live just on his parents now, and isn't skilled in anything that would lead him into one of the guilds. So farming's kind of where they wind up. You've seen you've seen plenty of these people in your time. During your time on the farm, like at meals and stuff like that, your parents, they keep kind of this adventuring thing is new. Before this, you were a blacksmith, working conscription sales and supplying a farm outside of Neverwinter with some of its tools, in the times that you weren't there. So they kind of, without being too pushy, they do ask you questions and stuff about your adventuring. They ask you, some of the places that you've been, anything of note that you've seen, kind of stuff that you would want to share with your parents. Is there anything from your adventures that you're willing to share with them?
Sure. Well, first I'll start off with the party and tell them that even though I have met quite a few people, different people, having the business of the forge and whatnot, that the individuals that I have been spending a lot of time with lately certainly are very different than anyone I've ever run into before. We've had some fun, we've had some interesting times. We've also had some times where we didn't get along so well, but for the most part, they're a good bunch of people, and I think you'd like them. And well, we've been to a lot of different places, a lot of traveling, a lot of sore butts after many days of riding on wagons and horses and donkeys, and met some crazy old man. And hopefully he's still around after all this, but he's supposed to be doing some interesting things for us, making some creations that we could definitely use in case anything like this starts to happen again. Hopefully, it won't. I'm not going to go into too much detail about the actual perils that we face because I don't want you guys to worry. But it was interesting. I don't know if I like it more than the blacksmithing, but I would probably keep doing both if I could.
Kind of like this sort of takes place over the entirety of your time, kind of sharing stories during meals and things like that. And at several points during the week, your mom, she she urges you to do what your heart says, but just be always careful. And your father, he kind of gets stuck on Xanalor a little bit. He knows you to be such an honest individual, and Xanalor is so secretive that your dad just like can't get over it and like really doesn't trust the idea of Xanalor. And so he just, every time you guys kind of talk about these stories and stuff and you finish your story, your dad kind of sit there and maybe ask you some follow-up questions, but at the end he says just be careful around that Xanalor fella.
And what's with that damn patch?
anyone who doesn't have both eyes the Lord gave him, I can't trust.
Oh, sorry, that was an ember that came out of the fire and hit him right in the eye. Really unfortunate adventuring accident.
But yeah, you spend a couple 10 days with your family helping out on the farm, kind of recharging your batteries a bit. The stakes are certainly lower than they have been in a long time. And so yeah, you just kind of enjoy the downtime with your family, and eventually once the farm hands kind of get in there and start getting things figured out, you make your way back down to Neverwinter, sort of with the standing promise that you'll be back soon.
Yeah. All right. So, hopefully it won't be so long before I see you guys again. And give my mom a big hug. Give my dad a nice bro hug. and take off back for town.
Okay.
That was
All right.
pleasantly wholesome.
It was, right?
I think
That's something we've never tried in Dungeons and Dragons before.
Yeah, usually when I give you guys wholesome, it's like undercut with just horrible loss.
Yeah.
By the way,
sarcasm.
Guess what? You saved the world, but half your city's gone, and maybe your parents. It's hard to tell.
Why don't you go ahead and take inspiration if you don't already have it, Nevis?
Cool. Thanks.
All right, so let's shift gears here really quick. I want to do something. We're going to kind of sprinkle this in here as well. Let's go ahead. We're going to take a 5-minute break, and then when we come back, I'm going to have Stock join me in the Whisper Zone for something briefly, and then we'll come back to Vendi. All right.
You got it, dude.
Good.
I just realized I need to finish Mass Effect and.
Let's call ourselves Wackanome.
What if we call them the low shots?
Love you, Bubba. Solo shots. Forgotten Winter. Bum, bum, bum. Love you forever and ever. Doomsday Dragoons. The Super Friends.
But we have to be super, like 1950s about it.
We all wear our underwear on the outside.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. Can't think of anything good.
First thing done is these two.
Okay.
I'll eat these ones. That's all. I wanted to eat.
Hypno Toad.
Where? And there. Okay, then swim. And right. Go with me.
Still having roll 20 issues, huh, Ned?
Yeah, I haven't tried in about a half hour, but it still won't load the game. It'll let me log in and everything, and it won't load anything for me, any of the campaigns.
That's really weird. Are you using what web browser are you using?
Well, that's what I was looking at too, and I saw that it's been designed for Firefox and Chrome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still using Edge because it's easy.
Okay. Maybe
So
there's an
that might.
maybe there's an update available for Microsoft Edge.
Yeah, there is, but I don't want to attempt it right now.
Okay. Alrighty. Okay. So looks like I've got everybody. Yeah. Okay. All right. Stock, would you join me in the Whisper Zone?
Sure. I did a thing.
Yeah, you sure did. All right. All right. So, Stock, during the course of this downtime, you keep things happen normally. At some point, you have a strange dream. As you sleep, you begin to dream, as always. Your dreams are pleasant, but for some reason, there's a sense of importance and urgency, a responsibility that keeps creeping up in the background. You try to identify it in your dreams, but it eludes you every time. Your dreams continue, one ebbing into another, or one ebbing as another picks up in a constant symphony of synapse. Eventually, your dreams begin to darken, literally. You find yourself eventually walking through a dark hallway, your footsteps echoing off the stone floor, reflected back at you by far off stone walls. Eventually, the echoes come from even further as you realize you've walked into a yet larger chamber. Suddenly, the space becomes dimly illuminated by ethereal stained glass windows. They surround the space, floating in the darkness. The floor itself is a complex tapestry of dimly glowing stained glass. As you look around, you notice 3 pedestals, each bearing a slowly turning shape. As you look over these shapes, you see that they're made of a slowly shifting purple gas, twirling on unseen currents. In your mind, you get a thought, an idea, a parameter. Choose one to take. And as you look around and investigate the 3 shapes, you see that one appears to be crossed swords. Another appears to be a billowing cloak made of that purple gas and shadow. And the third is a spyglass. So not a magnifying glass, but it was like telescoping.
Yeah.
Just in case. I had to Google it because I was like, I remember that there's a difference between spyglass and magnifying glass, but I can't remember exactly what it is. So.
It would be the cross swords. It's stock.
Cross swords? Okay. Alrighty. So you choose the cross swords. As you like grab it, it's your hand passes through the gas, really kind of solidifying in your mind that it is a gas, and the gas sort of swirls and then wafts off into the air. And as you look around, the other 2 shapes do the same thing. They lose their form and shift off into nothingness. The ethereal stained glass windows begin to dim until eventually the whole room is dark again, and you wake up and it's morning. Okay, so we can go back to the game chat now.
Okay. What if I want?
All right, we're back.
All right.
Let's quest.
All right, so Vendi, the last thing that you got was a sort of quest to orchestrate a census and a potential lead on Moonweaver.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you that census information first, right?
Okay.
So
let me get something to write it down with.
Okay.
And open.
All right. So you worked closely with actually the Hall of Records. They really like your idea of getting a representative to take down information about decisions that are made and things like that. And one of the first things that's put on record is the city's first census. The Hall of Records works closely with you on the logistics of getting information out to all these people and collecting it. Essentially what winds up happening is there is a sort of a fleet of wagons that go out. They're going to do this twice to make sure that everyone gets it, and they're going to on every building in town, they're going to deliver a parchment that has pre-written things to fill out, such as the number of people living in the home, like if it's just a home or if it doubles as a business, things like that.
Yeah. One other thing that I think I would have put on there is also a question on how many individuals in your home are missing since the event.
Okay. All right. I actually hadn't thought of that. So I will get that information for you next time. I do have the rest of the information though.
Okay.
So what happens after that fleet of wagons goes out and posts all of these censuses is that over the course of the next 3 days, they go out and collect them all. They do get pretty close to 100% of the ones that they put out refilled or retrieved, I should say.
Okay.
So here's the information. The new city's population is roughly 43,250 people.
Okay.
This is almost double Neverwinter's previous population, which obviously poses its own plethora of problems. Around 12,000 of those people are former Neverwintons. The rest are former Fairhaveners. The population distribution is about 65% human, 15% half-elf, 9% gnomes,
Awesome.
7% elves, 2% dwarves, and sort of an allotment of other races making up the last 2%.
Cool.
Again, the highest population density comes from the Fairhaven side of things. Also, I should bring this up. This is the Winter's Haven map.
The roads are so much better in Fairhaven. It makes so much more sense.
I think it's because of like different ways the city was built. You know, I think that Neverwinter was built in a manner that like everything expanded from a certain point, right? Like the Blue Lake District was probably built out from Castle Never, and then the Blue Lake got in the way, so it kind of affected things. And then like each district in Neverwinter was built like independently. So I think that's kind of why it leads to that sort of weird kind of winding streets sort of thing where Fairhaven, I probably think was a second capital city kind of thing where like it was built after another city had been built already. So like, hey, let's like give this one some infrastructure.
Yep. Kind of like the capital city of Myanmar.
Yeah. So one thing I want to point out that I wasn't able to do, and I want to try to figure out at some point though, is so the river that runs through Neverwinter and kind of ends like right there. It actually continues. So like this street here, I'm just gonna draw like a blue line on it. That's like this here is still water.
Yep, figured as much.
Is it like the LA River where it's like the concrete banks because it was a road?
Let's say yeah.
I like it. All right, cool. So that leads us to have a number of issues. For example, production.
Right. Yeah, I'll get you information on how many people are missing.
Yeah.
All right. So then you were also given sort of a lead of sorts on information, at least regarding Moonweaver, in that he would rent out establishments, the Winking Whale being one example of which.
Okay.
So what do you want to do with that?
So first and foremost is just to make we have public trust in this trying time is going to Mayor because I'm sorry, DM, I apologize. I refuse to call him anything other than
that. I mean, that's fine. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Your petulance has been noted.
Yeah. Yeah. But to start a campaign to train individuals in advanced farming techniques,
Okay.
trying to build irrigation systems,
Mhm.
and expanding the territory between Neverwinter and I believe it's called Helm's Hull, to be a massive agrarian project.
You're talking about on the Neverwinter map,
Yeah.
or on the
Eberron Coast.
yeah.
Yeah.
There was like a little. I think it was Helmshold.
Yeah.
Which direction? Oh, okay. Yeah, I
South,
see. Which?
yeah.
Yeah. I see it now.
So basically, that entire zone is meant for agrarian projects for humanoid sustenance.
Okay.
Yeah, and then making sure that we have advanced farming techniques as well as the education. Should individuals want that to be their occupation,
Mhm.
can make a living off it.
Okay.
Then the next project is making sure that we have enough Teamsters in the area, for lack of a better term, to make sure we can actually carry that to where it needs to go.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the third project on that is making sure that there are in place for those individuals so that we don't have to, because the biggest issue that we have is if the food is dry, it doesn't matter what.
Right.
So making sure that those are, and then I want to spend as long as it takes to make sure that those protections iron.
Okay.
And then as soon as we're happy with the output of that, is making sure it is like posted all throughout Fairhaven, probably like 3 times as much in Fairhaven as it is Neverwinter, to show it's like, hey, like, look, we're trying to make this work, and that's all for the optics of it.
Okay. All right. Stuart Mayer is a big fan of the things that you have suggested already. You're very quickly, you can tell, very quickly ingratiating yourself with the Stewart, and he really likes the ideas that you've come up with. After your ideas on the advisory board and the census, the Stewart requested that you stay on with him full time as his advisor.
Is there a title?
Advisor to the Stewart.
We'll come up with a cooler one later, but I'll take it.
He also retains a couple of other advisors. Jeez, I cleared my throat and it got worse. He maintains a couple other advisors for if and when you need to be called to your other duties as an adventurer, if that should happen. So yeah, he's a big fan of your ideas here. The advanced farming techniques, especially. He actually suggests getting the Mages College of Neverwinter involved in that as well, to see if there are things that can be done to sort of bolster that with things that they know. Obviously, they're sort of not just the source of arcane knowledge, but just they're the trusted source of knowledge.
Anyone who can help improve production and longevity is worth communicating with. Hey, another individual out here. Someone that might be a good advisor. That Xanalord guy. He seems pretty smart. You know, one eye but 2 brains.
That's yeah. Bring him in. Obviously, I during times like this, having more minds, more perspectives is a good thing. Like that's why I liked your advisory board idea so much. I think we could probably start by having Xanalord be on the board. He could be one of the Neverwinter representatives, and we'll just kind of see. We'll oversee kind of some of the things that he does on this board, and If we like it, we'll bring him up to the big leagues.
Sounds good. Hey, so can we smash cut to me going Zanlor?
Yeah.
Sweet. Hey, Zanalor, you know how we've been spending all this time looking for Moonweaver, and we've essentially come up with Bupkis?
Yes, and I'll let you go first.
Yes. Cool. So I may have done a few things in order to release and to give us increased access to information. And I may have created a situation in which we can get you to be a influential member of our new city and plan ways to make sure that, you know, we stay in an improved situation instead of this, you know, Pawnee, Eagleton, each faction of the city at each other's throats sort of situation. So, how would you like to run a city?
Um, I
You'd be so happy to.
if you may recall,
That this is your dream.
I this was once my dream, and I once essentially did this.
So you've got experience.
And I think with I'm trying to move past who I used to be.
By helping me murder Olamu.
I can talk to you. I can maybe help you navigate some of the politics. I don't think I can.
By being in the council and telling me at the meetings.
I don't think I can bring myself back into that world that essentially destroyed my life.
Well, that's news.
I think probably with the tragedy, you may have not. I didn't focus on that part of my story, but I was an influential member of the court of Neverwinter before this all started. But it's been decades. That's how I came to know Moonweaver in the first place.
So
So while I certainly have experience and expertise,
you're gonna do it.
I can't do that to myself again.
Damn it. Okay. Yeah. Well, if anything, I'll make sure that you have clearance to get the public and less than public records. Because I mean, there's times where like it's a cavalcade of information, and it'd be nice just to have another person kind of looking into it, and we can figure out exactly what's going down. And I do appreciate you asking or allowing me to ask you what should be done. I was really excited for you to take this. Okay. But I'm sorry, you had news too.
Yes. Like I said, I've told you I have a history in Neverwinter.
Winter's Haven. It's a great name. Start using it.
We'll workshop it. There's someone I would like you to talk to. I don't think it'd be a good idea for me to talk to him. He won't remember me, but I remember him very well. He used to be in the City Watch. He was one of the leaders there. Durkax Surthar. He was a Dragonborn.
Durkax?
Durkax, Durkax.
Okay.
I don't know if he's again still in the watch. I don't know if he's alive even, but I think he'd be a good source of information potentially on what might have happened with Moonweaver. And if you wouldn't mind, I heard there was this strange arson. Some rich person's house burned down. I'm curious if he has any thoughts about that. If you can find that out while you're there. And then I hand him 20 gold. You'll probably need this to get any information out of him.
I mean, did you not see a few weeks ago the giant bag of money I was just to give to stock?
This is my request, I suppose. You can use your own gold if you choose, but
I mean, I'm going to. I mean, it's
he's probably going to.
despite the fact that you guys all got fooled by some group of renegades who get lied to way too easily. We still are a team.
Fair enough. But just know that he will, whether subtly or not, he will probably need money from you.
You know, when we were setting up Discovery, you would be surprised how many people. It's like almost everybody. We had to get a payroll department. Also, how often should people be getting paid?
I would say every 10 day, so it's regular.
Okay. Regular. That's good. That's good. I was going to pay him when I remembered.
Usually not a good idea.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. Look, I'm more of a big picture guy. Thanks for that. Anything else?
That's what I need from you right now. And
Cool.
When you have questions about who to go to, or again, just navigating the politics, I might be able to help.
Oh, yeah. Oh, something I need to ask from you. I did go see Sibo, and he got me this cool new armor. I also promised him that we would go see him once this is all said and done. So if you guys get a chance to go, can you just say, hey, Dendy's alive, but unfortunately, he has to make sure a city doesn't burn to the ground because he has to figure out how to pay people every 10 days.
You don't want to see Sivo again?
It's not that I don't. We're in a situation where everything's still kind of tenuous, and I will make sure I go see him once we get everything ironed out and I can spend a day away from Winter's Haven. Great name. Yeah. But right now it's...
You'll want to test that on regular people and see what names they prefer, because
at this point,
on board if that's what you're trying together.
Yeah, at this point, is there any half-elves?
What's that?
Is there any half-elves around us right now, DM?
Sure.
I'll literally just grab one. It's like, all right, pitching a city name for you. Okay, Zenalor, what would you name this city now?
Greater Blue Lake.
Okay, whereas Winter's Haven. Which one do you like better?
Why not Towny McTown face? He walks away.
All right, education is not a strong point.
We've got great agriculture, but our education is lacking.
It'd be great for tourism. Everybody would be talking about
it.
All right. Well, sorry, Zanalor, I gotta do more trying not to get the city to burn to the ground stuff. Just understand that the invite to join is a open invitation. There is no expiration date to it. Just if you ever decide that you're ready to try a thing you've done before but in a new way, let me know. and there's a seat at the table for you.
Very well.
And scene.
All right. All right. So, what are you doing with the information that was given? So you've got sort of a couple leads. You know, you've got Dirkax, you've got the Winking Whale.
I'm going to Dirkax first.
Okay. So you kind of ask around, and
He's been dead for 5 years.
no, you ask around. You find some City Watch guys. You ask about Dirkax, and they tell you that Captain Surthar, he retired with honors from the City Watch, probably about 6 or 7, 10 days before the Arcanoclism occurred.
Mm-hmm. Convenient.
Right. Most of the time you can actually find him spending his retirement, both time and money, in the Winking Whale.
Well, that's very convenient. 2 birds meet 1 stone.
Right. All right. So you enter the Winking Whale. It looks like most other taverns you've been in. It's pretty fancy looking. You know, like the upholstery is velour or crushed velvet kind of appearance, as opposed to
Zap Brannigan.
as opposed to the like the leather or like burlap kind of upholstery that you see in most other taverns, if there's any upholstery at all. The people are notably more affluent.
I have severely undressed.
A little bit, yeah. There's a person at the front door, kind of like a bouncer type person, who stops you to tell you you have to pay a cover to go into the Winking Whale. It's 1 gold.
I'm sorry. Do you know who I am?
I mean, I've got a list here, so if you tell me, maybe.
So you're saying you don't know who I am?
No.
Great. And I just walk forward.
All right. He grabs you pretty hard on the shoulder.
And
So if you're not on the list, you have to pay cover, or I throw you out.
Look, I'm here on city business. I'm here to talk to the retired Captain Dirkax.
All right, let's find out. He takes you, still kind of. He's standing like with his shoulder, like his left shoulder, like directly behind your right shoulder, kind of leading you through the bar to a table with an older looking dragonborn sitting there. You can kind of tell that he's older just because like the sort of luster of his scales has dimmed in certain areas, and just like you can kind of see it just like in his eyes. He's got eyes that have seen a lot of seasons and a lot of stuff. And he's sitting there with a flagon, and the bouncer, he walks you up to him. And he says, "Sorry to bother you, Captain Surthar. This guy said he's here to meet with you. Is he with you?" And the captain takes a drink out of his flagon. He sets it down. And he goes, "Yeah, he's with me." And so the bouncer leaves you be with the captain.
At this point, I take a gold piece, and it's like, "Hey, that cover charge." I just throw it towards the door.
Making friends.
Yeah, the power's getting to my head apparently.
All right. So the Dragonborn takes another pull from his flagon, sets it down, kind of motions at the chair, and sits back, waits for you to sit.
I do that.
He says, "All right. So, who are you? What is it you want?"
There is a mutual friend of ours who said you would be a useful individual to talk to about one of my distant predecessors. I'm sure by now, even though you're retired, you've got the connections where I don't need to say my name.
Are you actually going to say anything, or are you just going to keep making words?
Making words mostly, and hopefully they'll form an idea in your head.
Who sent you?
Individuals who care about arson in our town.
Should be the entire city watch.
Oh, great. So we have options.
You said your predecessor. What is it you do?
Well, I am a senior advisor to the mayor.
Okay, so I assume you're here to ask me about Moonweaver.
Well, it's nice that you're able to come to such conclusions.
Yeah, well, it wasn't easy considering you're just talking yourself in circles.
How is that different than what you're drinking yourself into?
Sometimes good things come out of circles. You don't seem to be one of them yet.
Touche. If I was the DM right now, I'd be offering your NPC inspiration. Yeah. So at this point, I'll take out a gem that I have, like a ruby that I have stored in my pocket, and I just put it down on the table, priced around 30 gold pieces.
Okay.
And I sit there. It's like, I know that there's a lot of circles that you like. Maybe this one, while not being perfectly round, can curry favor.
You see him kind of look around as he takes his flagon and like places it on top of the ruby and like pulls it back towards himself, sits back in his seat.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no. That's not yours yet. That's just an escrow.
What is it you want to know?
What are some of his final projects that he was working on?
So here's the thing you got to understand about Moonweaver. Official orders were, we don't ask questions, we don't look into them. Now, I can't tell you exactly what he was working on, but I can tell you the 3 places that I'm pretty sure he lived in one of.
Mm-hmm.
You have to understand that without being able to officially look into somebody, you can unofficially get yourself in a lot of problems. So, first place, Piermore Chateau.
All right.
Second place, the Mantra Residence.
Mantra or matcha?
It's Montcher.
Montcher.
And the last one is the Shiro Estate.
What was the second one? Again, it was the Mancher Residence?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. And then another one was out here is a little while ago, maybe a couple of moons back. There was one of these higher end residences that was set to arson.
Talk about Old Arrowway Manor?
Yes, that's the one. I'm sharp mind. What was the outcome of that investigation?
Well, City Watch investigated it, took a look around, asked a lot of questions. No one came forward. No one was linked to it. Eventually fell to the wayside.
All right. Well, can't really give you orders right now because you've earned your rest. Think I'll be interested in opening up a few of these cold cases again. I mean,
Which ones in particular? My answer depends on how interesting the cold case was.
well, I'm sorry you gave up your privileges when you retired in order to have a more comfortable life. I believe that circle that gave you is a means of that comfortable life. Do you really want to get back into what you tried?
A lot of shit going on out there right now. I picked a pretty good fucking time to retire.
Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to tell you right now is that you've done your part. Enjoy your retirement. As I stand up and begin to walk away. And I look at the bouncer and goes, next time, don't forget this face. And continue out.
All right.
I'm becoming a mafia lord.
Okay, so what are you gonna do with this information?
I'm going to take some time to digest this as we move on to something.
Okay. All right. But what I would like you to do first, actually, is join me in the Whisper Zone.
Okay.
Stock, can you come in so that we can get it on stream? All right. Thank you for joining me in the Whisper Zone. All right. So one night, vendor, you find yourself as you sleep, you begin to dream, as always. Your dreams are pleasant, but for some reason, there's a sense of importance, an urgency, a responsibility that keeps creeping up in the background. You try to identify it, but it eludes you every time. Your dreams continue, one ebbing as another picks up in a constant symphony of synapse. Eventually, your dreams begin to darken. Literally, they get darker. You find yourself walking through a dark hallway, your footsteps echoing off the stone floor, reflected back at you by far-off stone walls. Eventually, the echoes come from even further as you realize you've walked into a yet larger chamber. Suddenly, the space becomes dimly illuminated by ethereal stained glass windows. They surround the space, floating in the darkness. The floor itself, a complex tapestry of dimly glowing stained glass. As you look around you, you notice 3 pedestals, each bearing a slowly turning shape. As you look over these shapes, one of the shapes is the image of 2 hands shaking. Another is a winged staff with 2 coiled serpents, and another is it looks like the moon. As you look over these shapes, you see that they're made of a slowly shifting purple gas, twisting in unseen currents. In your mind, you get a thought, an idea, a parameter. Choose one to take.
You're Kingdom Heartsing me, aren't you? Let's see here. The handshake probably would mean that I'm able to be successfully. Medicine would be more for the benefit of others. Moon I could pretty much discount because anything moon related is going to get me jumpy. You know what? I'm going to take the Rod of Eclipsis.
Okay. So as you reach out and grab the rod, the purple gas, your hand passes through it, and it sort of wafts off and dissipates into the air as smoke often does. And as you look around, you see that the other 2 shapes follow suit and turn in. They get sort of, again, on unseen currents, kind of blown away and dissipate into the air. The stained glass windows and floor slowly begin to fade into blackness, and you wake up and it's morning. And then we can go back into the game chat now.
And then, I just sit up and I go, Moonweaver! ah, ah.
All right, I am back in as well. All right, so Xanalor.
Yeah.
We have gone through. We've gone through you learning carpentry, sort of learning some more about flying, or at least getting the opportunity to, and some continued information about the Metal Man, as well as putting someone onto the path potentially of Olamal. So what would you like to do now?
I would like to find a random, like, everyday clothing store
Okay.
and buy the most generic set of clothes that they have.
Just
Okay.
get North Face everything.
Like something with a hood or a hat.
Mhm.
Does that cost anything?
Yeah, let's see really quick.
Like everyday middle class clothes.
Yeah. All right. That's going to cost 2 gold. It's some pretty generic leather boots, belts, a off-white, sort of unbleached cloth shirt, kind of harkening back to how wedding dresses bleached white was a sign of station. So to have a perfectly white shirt would be a sign of station as well. So to be nondescript would be a unbleached white shirt, which also comes with a like a gray woolen jacket, and like a hat that can be sort of tied for travel, like wagon drivers' clothes, basically just basic traveler's clothes. Did I say it was 2 gold piece?
Yes.
Okay. Making sure I said that out loud, not in my head.
I'm going to change into that.
Okay.
I'm still going to wear the eye patch, though.
Sure.
And I'm going to go out to an old jewelry shop I used to know.
Okay.
And just kind of poke my head in and try to just see if the proprietor is there and alive.
Okay. So you as you go to this jeweler, there's a sign on the door, and you've seen this sign before. The sign says off on business, and that what that really means is that Rotmir is entertaining guests at the Winking Whale. He's doing a liquid lunch, so to speak.
Okay. Then I'm just going to just kind of smile, and then go back home.
Okay.
Because that was basically what I was looking for. And then I want to go around Fairhaven. I'll do that while I'm out.
Okay.
The Fairhaven section and see if there are like cool shops that didn't exist in Neverwinter.
Okay. So as you go around Fairhaven, you see that there are some shops that exist. However, a lot of them aren't selling anything right now. They're struggling to kind of get product available to be sold because their supply lines have been interrupted, to say the least. And then also some guy named Aldine keeps wanting to try to get them to sign contracts where they just sell their wares through him. There are a few shops that sell spell components, and some of them have offered to try to make potions, but they don't have like anything pre-made ready to sell. There's also a few spell scrolls for sale. Yeah, that's kind of what you find.
Okay. What are the spell scrolls?
All right. So there are 3 first level spell scrolls available. One is for a spell called Zephyr Strike. Another one is Cause Fear, and the third is Grease. There is a pair of second level spell scrolls available, Detect Thoughts and Web. And there is a third level spell scroll available for the spell Revivify.
How much is that?
That one is 200 gold pieces.
I want to buy that.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to keep in mind the other places exist.
Okay.
With the scroll, do I know that I need any component with it? Or does the scroll work by itself?
I'll actually have to double check that one.
Okay.
I think it works by itself.
Okay. And then the last thing, I want to go find that rebel that I had talked to.
Okay. All right. So you wind up you're not sure where to find this guy. You didn't even ask his name. And so you kind of start where you hold on. You kind of start on just going through routes so you decide to ask Hildraith if he like knows the names of the people that he sent with you to Torland, right? Is that what it's called? Twern.
That's it.
Twern. Yeah. I mixed Twern and Norland, which are the 2 islands. And so he doesn't remember the kid's name either. Sort of one of the people who showed promise, but wasn't, like he didn't really join on like a meaningful part of the final assault. But he says that this kid did rejoin the college when they came back.
So I should have done it back when I was at the college.
Hildraith is at the college.
Oh, right.
Because he's rejoined the college to work with Varen on these things and to sort of kind of make amends, so to speak. So you wind up asking around the college to try to find a record of like people having rejoined the college, and you do wind up finding his name, which is going to be his name is his name's Eric.
Eric.
Mm-hmm.
So did I find him or did I just get his name?
You got his name, but you're able to, if you want to, track him down.
Does anyone know where he is?
Yeah, there's some people that they know him since he's new, newish, I guess. They've got like classes with him and stuff, so you're able to find him pretty easily.
Then I just want to flag him down at some point.
Okay.
Like, Eric.
He looks, while he's walking, he sees the eye patch and recognizes you. So he comes over. He says, I'm not really too sure what the proper greeting is here, and glad to see you made it out too, I guess.
That's fair. So how have things been since everything changed?
Well, I know last time we talked, I was kind of going on about how I liked the nothing was restricted and free form education that I was getting with the rebels. So to be back here, at first I wasn't looking forward to it. I was, and I think this is right. I think he was at the Mages College in Luskin. But now he's in the Mages College in Neverwinter. So I stayed here, well, because I was closer to it. Also, I don't know. I guess it was kind of hard to not continue to follow Hildraith. He came back to the Mages College of Neverwinter. So since I was going to be going back to a Mages College, I figured why not try Neverwinter just to see if it was different than Luskin.
Has it been?
A bit. I think that people around here, because of like how many people wind up leaving, and like sort of the things that they liked about that freeform, I think things have become a little less structured in some ways. There's like certain teachers who kind of embraced that and broke out of their standardized kind of teaching and are now teaching in a more free flowing kind of manner. It's been better. It's still not.
You're still running into walls.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if those are ability based or if it's, I don't know. It's probably just to keep me from blowing myself up, but sometimes I just wish it was my choice.
No one should keep you from blowing yourself up. Those are the choices that you make.
But I suppose like in the pursuit of higher magical learning, it's not a big sacrifice to have to make.
But it could be. I believe you've seen me in combat. You I'm sure have seen that I can do things that probably haven't seen other people do.
Yeah.
And I wanted to share. I know you're running into walls probably here, and I'm an open book. If you are looking for, like you said, you didn't like the secrecy that you were finding.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe I can provide what you were looking for.
Okay. Where can I find you?
We have a breeze home in the city.
Okay. I'll have to think about it a little bit, but your offer is promising. So you'll probably be hearing from me. I'm just not sure when. I've got some things I need to think about first.
Perfect.
Just to be clear, you're not asking me to like join a cult or something, are you?
No, I'm just looking to share what knowledge I have, and I think that you showed promise,
Okay.
and you shared the same frustrations that I have about secrecy and people not sharing information.
Yeah, sure. A mutual bond of you know,
Transparency.
exactly. Okay, sure. Well,
Well, very well. I'll leave you to it then.
what is it you go by again?
Xanalor.
Xanalor. Okay, Xanalor. Thank you for your offer, and I'm sure you'll be hearing from me soon.
I'm gone.
All right.
Unless we wanted to move to somewhere else for a bit. I have, I guess, kind of a nagging feeling that I need to know more about Rotmir and actually see him.
Okay.
So I'm going to go to the Weeping Whale.
Okay. All right. So you head to the Winking Whale. You go ahead and make a history check for me.
That's not right. 11.
11. Okay. You remember some of the names that were on the list, at least back when you used to come to the Winking Whale all the time. And so as you walk up to it and you see the bouncer kind of step forward, you throw one of those names out as you just kind of like hurriedly walk past, looking busy, as one does when they're trying not to draw attention to themselves. And so he just like he checks the list, and like as he looks up to like say like you're good, like you're already gone. And so you you go into the Winking Whale. You find a place where you can look for Rotmir, and you actually see him at his usual table. So you grab a spot far enough away where you can still like hear what's going on, but not so close that like you run the risk of being spotted. You see Rotmir's got a small gathering of people around him, all laughing and telling stories. Several empty tankards of ale and plates with scraps of food sit at the table. One of the barmaids gets stopped by one of the patrons that's with Rotmir, and you recognize this guy, but you don't recall his name. And he pulls the barmaid like into his lap, and then everyone in the group, including the barmaid, erupt in laughter. You see that Rotmir has got a Fairhavener at his side, and he seems to be helping the wealthy-looking man network with the Neverwintons. It's pretty obvious that he hasn't lost that joviality and generosity that you once knew him for. He seems to have aged some years, more gray in his beard than when you left for Chult. But it's obvious from his gut and the empty vessels at the table that he hasn't lost his ability to sate his appetite. And you actually hear as he continues a story. He says, "So anyway, the prick steps out, waving his arms, yelling, 'You can't park your horse there!' And Willivar says to him all quiet like, 'That's not his horse, that's his wife.'" Rotmir busts up laughing as he barely gets the word wife out.
That is so wrong.
As he calms down, he takes a
Do
kind
I
of
make a Constitution check to not laugh?
yeah, go for it.
10.
10. Okay. You stifle like an actual like laugh as you recall the story, but you kind of like and everyone's kind of laughing, and you notice it's a brief thing, sort of something that someone does when they've accidentally forgotten to keep their guard up. He kind of takes a somber look on his face, takes a long draft from his tankard. He says, you hear him just kind of say to himself, "Oh, Will, I miss you." But he seems to be Seems to be doing pretty well
Okay.
for the most part.
Do I recognize any of the people at the table?
You
Just
recognize. So the Fairhaveners, not so much, obviously. You do recognize some of the people at the table, not all of them, but there are a couple people there who you had seen previously.
And that I would expect to be with him.
Yeah.
I stay there long enough to hear some conversation.
Mhm.
And if he does anything weird, and then take my leave if nothing happens.
Okay.
Like an hour.
Yeah. So you sit for an hour. You have a drink so as not to look weird. And everything seems to be going pretty well. He's like I said, kind of networking those Fairhaveners with the wealthier Neverwintons, helping people rub elbows. Nothing weird happens though. No one strange comes into the tavern. Looks like everyone, is kind of there, kind of doing their thing. You don't really notice anybody noticing you in any way.
Okay.
All right. So as you return to the Breeze home for the evening, will you join me in the Whisper Zone? Stock, please come back. All right. Wrong one. All right. So, Xanilor, as you kind of continue winding down from your day and reminiscing and journaling and things like that, you find yourself not sleeping, because you don't sleep anymore, but you do find your thoughts pulled elsewhere. You've kind of wound up accidentally stumbling upon like pretty good meditation during your time when you're not like having to keep watch while you're sleeping, but you're still able to kind of appreciate your surroundings while you're doing this. And so you kind of your thoughts, these sort of visions or meditations, at first are pleasant, and you kind of begin to explore them. It's very similar to dreaming. It's something that you've allowed yourself to do from time to time, in order to keep your mind busy on these essentially boring nights. And these visions and stuff are pleasant, but there's this creeping sense of importance or urgency, like a sense of responsibility that it just kind of keeps creeping up in the background of your mind, sort of like a background noise. And every time you try to focus your mind to it a bit, it like goes away. It eludes you. And eventually these visions, like they start losing clarity, and you just are getting like blackness. And then in a vision, you are in this dark room, and you take a step forward, and suddenly you're surrounded by these ethereal stained glass windows that start illuminating dimly. The ground itself is a stained glass mosaic that giving off a small amount of light. And you see around you 3 pedestals, each bearing a slowly turning shape. As you look over these shapes, one is a magnifying glass, another is a cloak, kind of, and the other is a door, actually. And these shapes, they're made out of this slowly shifting purple gas, twirling on unseen currents. In your mind, you get a thought, an idea, a parameter almost. Choose one to take.
There's magnifying glass, cloak, and door.
Mhm.
I think I reach for the cloak.
Cloak. Okay. All right. As you reach for the object, your hand passes through it as you're like reminded that it's smoke, and the cloak, it sort of loses its corporeal kind of form that it had, and it fades off into the darkness, sort of dissipating into the air as a gas does. And as you look around you, the other two shapes do the same thing. And the stained glass, the illumination that it's giving off, as dim as it is, slowly fades into blackness, and you kind of you're able to actually like kind of break this vision, and you look around you, and you're still sitting in your in the breeze home. And we can rejoin the game chat now.
Okay. I'm gonna just write in my journal, was that you?
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna come up. I think I need to come up with some good journal stuff for you, especially with what you had given me. So I gotta. It is noted. All right. So
Get quick replies. So
yeah. All right. Stock. Is there anything else that you want to do? Do you want to try another adventure?
Sure, let's try another adventure.
Okay. Which DC are you choosing this time?
I think I'm aware.
Is there an option for the same DC?
Yeah.
Let's try that again.
You could do 15 again?
Yep.
Okay. All right, go ahead and make an athletics check.
Let me switch back to the page I need to be on. Because apparently I accidentally closed it out.
Close your character sheet.
Yeah, accidentally. Athletics, you said?
Yeah.
27?
Okay. And then go ahead and do another strength with weapon proficiency. Your attack bonus, I think, is what we used, right?
Yeah. Somehow I managed to get it stuck, so. That is 17.
Okay. And then again, you get to choose between investigation, survival, or intimidation.
Intimidation, as usual. That is a total of 20.
20. Okay. So you received this contract. It's a 100 gold piece contract from a prosperous citizen. The quest was to ride out to the Sea of Spirits, speak with the youthful being of pure energy, and then find the instructions to the unsanitary helmet that is currently in the possession of the king. Only then can you at last understand the words of the babbling statues of the river. So you return victorious as the contractor takes the unsanitary helmet to go on to understand the statues. So congratulations, you actually succeeded on that one.
Yay! How much did I make?
So you made 100 gold pieces. I want to remind you that each adventure costs 25. And that's for gathering information regarding the contract, as well as purchasing supplies and providing a per diem for your guildmates on the adventure.
No problem.
All right. Is there anything else you want to do? You want to do another one?
No, I think I'm good for now. With
Okay.
having the little ones, because April's not feeling good, it's not the easiest to do things.
Okay. All right, man. All right. So let's we'll switch over to Nevis. So Nevis, you wanted to check in on Ulfgar, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you know that Ulfgar had sort of decided to go wandering when he found you in sort of a self-imposed exile when you were younger. And after taking you under his wing, teaching you the ways of the forge, in blacksmithing, teaching you all you knew then. You've learned some things on your own now, especially your connection with Hephaestus, kind of giving you inspiration. The last time you remember seeing Ulfgar, which was some years ago now, he told you that he wasn't necessarily ready to rejoin his tribe, his clan yet. He was going to make his way to back to the Grey Cloak Mountains in order to kind of just completing his pilgrimage, trying to find what it was that he was looking for. He wasn't sure, but then again, most people who kind of go off on those sorts of tasks aren't necessarily sure of. So yeah, the Great Cloak Mountains are the last place that you thought that Ulfgar was, and you remember looking at the Eberron coast maps and seeing that the Grey Cloak mountain range had been impacted by an Eberron region known as the Mirar Holds. So you began making your way to the Grey Cloak Mountains to search for Ulfgar. There was a city as you kind of as you search, you gather information and stuff. There was a dwarven city of Sarbreen that was in the Grey Cloak Mountains, and so you kind of pick that as a place to start because potentially someone in Sarbreen had seen Ulfgar, or maybe had heard from him and knew where he might be. And so you arrived in where Sarbreen was, and instead of the things that were described to you, like the clans that existed in Sarbreen, you wind up finding sort of the flags, sigils, and people of an Eberron dwarven clan known as the Laranac clan. And all around you, actually, you see signs of a civil war having broken out. You decide to ask about Ulfgar anyway, just to see if, your leads are pretty low at this point. So you ask around anyway. And it turns out that Ulfgar is actually here in this city. And he's been smithing for the Laranac dwarves. And so one of the dwarf that you're talking to points you in the direction of the forge that he has set up here in the former city of Sarbreen. So as you make your way to Ulfgar's forge, you enter, and the forge is impressive. You see him work for, you hear him and see through your mind's eye, and then eventually through your own eyes as you continue through the shop. Every hammer stroke rings out clean. The swift motions of turning the steel, hammering it, turning it back for another blow, and then quenching the steel in a bath has you memorized for a moment. And it almost makes you feel like you did all those years ago. just a kid making shit in an old tree, brought into the world of metal crafting and smithing, uh, and shown the way by a kindly dwarf. The forge around you is immaculately kept as well. It seems as though Ulfgar has kept to his old ways and might still have some secrets to teach you, as the forge appears to be brand new, despite you seeing evidence of months of work in the amount of items that have been crafted. And so yeah, you see there before you Ulfgar working on some it looks like a battle axe.
All right. Well, I don't know if he's noticed me yet or not, but I don't want to get close enough to to be within swinging range if I happen to startle him.
Okay.
So I just want to, I don't know, like pick up maybe a piece of metal or something and tap it on the nearest surface to kind of get his attention.
Okay.
In between hammer blows.
Yeah. And you do this kind of out of instinct. You spent quite a bit of time learning with Ulfgar, and that was kind of the sign that you guys had established so that you didn't wind up getting cleft. And so he looks up from the work. He sees you. He flips the blade over, hammers it again, and quenches it. And he looks back up at you, like kind of with a surprised look on his face. And he says, um, uh, um, he says, "By my dwarven beard, is that Nevis?"
Hail, master. Yes, it is.
What are you doing all the way out here?
Came to see you, actually.
Well, here I am. You're seeing me.
All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Yeah. You look good, master. I just was hoping that everything was going to be okay after the Arcanoclism. I had no doubt that you would survive. I just didn't know what would survive around you.
Well, I certainly wasn't necessarily done being on my own, but after that Arcanoclism, you called it, I'm sure you've seen it out there. This petty squabble between the dwarves. It's a crying shame. You got dwarves fighting dwarves when really they should be banding together. Even before the Arcanoclism, the dwarves of Faerun had more than their fair share of enemies. Giants, orcs, goblins, the drow, always seeking to take dwarven lands. Not to mention all manner of creatures that cause problems with the mining efforts. The quicker the squabble ends, the sooner dwarves can get back to keeping the economy full of precious metals and stones and defending their lands, unlike the elves.
Is that what you're crafting all these weapons for? Is for the Civil War?
Aye, believe it or not, I'm crafting for the Laranak dwarves. You'd think I'd be crafting for the former Sword Coast dwarves, but they're the ones really holding on to the piss in this civil war. Fighting over things that don't even fucking matter anymore. Lands that don't even exist.
Well, just as I'm sure you are not taking sides, the only war that you wage is against the unyielding metal to turn it into something you can be proud of. Just as I would expect from you.
Aye, you'll not usually find me out there on the front lines. It's true enough. But enough about me. What of you? How is your forge going? Are you still out there in Neverwinter?
Yeah, I believe it is. I haven't been there in a while. For all purposes, I have every reason to believe it's still there. I've actually been somehow dragged into being on the front lines and right in the middle of the thick of things. But with that behind us now, I'm just going to try to see where the road takes me and possibly get back to making my forge business thrive again, and just continue on with the forging of my craft, our craft, and the honoring of Hephaestus.
So are you saying you're an adventurer now?
Possibly an unwitting one, but I have to admit there's a certain appeal to it.
Well, we'll touch on that. But what are some of your experiences as a blacksmith? Are there any lives you've touched with your work?
Possibly. I'm not exactly sure where to go with that. I mean, I hope that I've done my best at providing for humanity, whatever way, shape, or form that is.
That level of uncertainty seems fitting. It's often a thankless labor, forging steel, making tools. It's not unless something goes wrong that you often hear about your work. There may be new people and places now, but the world has always been messed up. Adventurers and deeds are the medicine that keeps things livable. So, what's this adventure you've been on?
Well, just we've been all over trying to dismantle evil, so to speak. Got ourselves crossed up a little bit, but I think we made it right. Although we've definitely changed things, as you alluded to, with the different people here. We were definitely in the thick of things. I know that my learnings that you imbued upon me were definitely utilized. I'm grateful again for that. And I just tried to maintain the honor of the craft and do the right thing and be an honorable man myself.
As you start to finish this story, really no later than the last words of it leave your mouth, there is an explosion that happens outside the forge. You see a bunch of the tools that were hung on the wall clatter to the ground. As you look around, you see some of the dwarves outside falling from the quaking. And you see out the door of Ulfgar's forge, some of the dwarven soldiers have kind of the Laranac dwarves have amassed together. You see them pulling their weapons, and on the other side of them, you see some of the dwarves that have like the old Sarbrine sigils on there, the ones that you were told to look for. And with them, you see several purple-skinned dwarves fitted with goggles that have darkly stained glass. They begin attacking the surprised Laranac dwarves. You hear Ulfgar as he grabs a warhammer, shouting about the lowly bastards stoop to recruiting a Duragar to help him fight. This isn't the way dwarves conduct business. and he just like runs out with his hammer. And there it is. Okay.
We're about to get pulled into a civil war.
And so you and Ulfgar are up here, and you see actually as you run out, those purple-skinned dwarves that you saw, they grow in size with their equipment to be bigger than you, actually, as they appear to now be large in size. Why don't we go ahead and have you roll initiative?
Eight.
All right. Ah, a pen attacked me. All right. All right, got that set. Okay, so the I think the dwarven soldiers are up first. They're gonna start running down around to attack. This one here is actually going to run up to the ledge, and you see him like get ready to jump down at them. And then these two are going to make their way down the ramp as well. Clicking the wrong shit. All right, you see the big guys. One of them actually climbs up like the cliff face right there, and you see him get up there and pull out his like a big javelin, and he hurls it at Ulfgar. Okay. So that is going to be okay. That's going to be a 19 to hit, which will. Oh, okay. It gives me that already. Neat. All right. And that's going to be for 8 piercing damage as the javelin, you see it hit Ulfgar and kind of like graze off of his shoulder, and he turns back, and like it's, you know, he's got a little bit of blood on his cloak. The other ones. Are going to run that way. And then Ulfgar is actually up. He's going to run that way, and he's going to throw his javelin at the thing, at the Duragar. I should turn on the lamp because I can't see anything, but that's going to hit. For max damage. So it's 10 damage from the javelin to this big purple dwarf. All right. With that, Nevis, you are up.
All right. right, so it's just Ulfgar and I, right? Everyone else is at this point in time considered a nemesis.
So the guys that have purple rings are the bad guys. The ones that have like tan/gold rings are the good guys.
Oh, okay, all right. So there are
From-
quite a few. Okay. Let's begin with free action of invoking the blessing of the forge.
Okay.
And then for my main action, I want to use guiding bolt against the big guy that Ulfgar is running towards.
Okay.
That's a 27 to hit.
That definitely hits.
Hit so nice it might hit twice.
That's 16 radiant damage.
Okay. You said it was guiding bolt, right?
Guiding bolt, yeah, so he's now marked.
Yeah.
And I want to move just ahead of Ulfgar.
Okay.
And then use a spell driver to cast Toll the Dead on that same
Okay.
giant dwarf. Wisdom of 16.
Okay. That fails.
All right, so then he takes. Wait a minute. Is that the one?
That'll be 2d12.
Yeah. Not bad, not bad. 13 necrotic.
Okay. This thing looks pretty bad, by the way.
That's the whole point.
All right. Okay. And your turn?
It's my turn.
Okay. Okay, this guy is going to jump down. So he's going to take three damage from the fall. He's going to be able to move to there. So he's just outside of range. These guys. Going to run up and engage with the other dwarves. Those are all dashes except for one. So this guy is going to take a swing at the dwarf in front of him. It's going to miss, though. All right. So with that, those guys are done. This guy, actually, he's going to... all right, he's going to climb up. But it's going to take him all of his movement to get up there. All right. So the Dwergar are up. Move there. There. And you're going to see them make attacks against those dwarves. All right. That's a hit and a hit. So 10 against first one. Actually, it wasn't. Let's do 11. All right. That brings us to this guy here. He's going to lumber up, and he's going to make an attack against you, Nevis. Does a 21 hits you, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's going to be for 11 piercing damage from his war pick. And then Ulfgar is up. He's going to come up, and he's going to make a pair of attacks with his warhammer against his Duragar. And the first one's going to be with advantage because of the guiding bolt. That is going to hit. And then the second one is a nat 20. All right. So it's going to be a total of 30 damage against this thing. And that's going to put it down. Because you knocked it down to 1 hit point. All right. You are up.
All right. How far is the drop from right there?
About 15 feet. Or actually, no, it's about 10.
All right. So even if I were to just drop down, I probably wouldn't take much damage.
No, not much.
If I were to turn around and scramble down by holding on with my hands and reducing that to 4 feet, I probably wouldn't have to take any, right?
Yeah, if you were to like climb down, it would be an athletics check to do it, but or to see if you succeeded. I mean,
all right. So I'm going to move towards this other one. That's a purple on him, right?
yeah.
25. And I'm going to make an attack a melee attack at him.
Okay.
That's it. 18 to hit.
That will just barely hit.
For 7 bludgeoning.
Okay.
And bonus action is going to be how about it? Inflict wounds, since
Okay.
I'm close enough.
Sure.
Attack. Ooh, that's only a 16.
That one's not going to hit.
Damn. Can I use my inspiration to reroll?
Sure.
I should have stayed with the 8. Never mind. That was even a worse hit than the last time. So, oh well.
Okay. All right. We will. So there's war waging down here. This could be. we're just gonna do this like that. All right. Then up are gonna be the bigger guys. Actually gonna smash this guy, and then this guy's gonna take. Alrighty. So up next is Ulfgar. He's going to run up, and he's going to make an athletics check. Okay, against. Okay, he's going to try to shove the guy off the edge, but he just barely braces his feet and doesn't get shoved off. And he's going to make a single attack with his. He's going to miss. All right, Nevis, you're up again.
All right. I want to try this because I
Okay.
haven't yet. And since I'm close enough to that other guy, I would like to, from a main action, cast Bestow Curse at the 4th level.
Okay.
And I choose the effect to be, if he is cursed, my attacks and spells deal an extra 1d necrotic damage to him.
Okay.
So he needs to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. Nope, that's a 3.
Awesome. So he is now cursed for 10 minutes because it's his 4th level or higher.
Okay.
The concentration spell.
Okay.
And like I said, my attacks and spells that hit do an extra 1d8 necrotic.
Okay.
So, with that said, melee attack. Oh wait, can I do that for my bonus, or does it have to be a spell for spell driver?
So
Because it's a 4th level spell, so I can't use that as my bonus action.
right, yeah. So you would need to do like another spell then, since your main
Okay.
action would have been the bestow
It's
curse.
yeah, it's kind of what I figured. All right. Let's go with Word of Radiance again.
Okay. Is that a saving throw?
Yeah, con.
All right.
That one. Dwarves have a lot of constitution.
That's a fail though.
Oh, cool. 6 radiant damage.
6 radiant damage, and that's with the extra?
No, that's not with the extra. I just remembered to add the extra. 2 necrotic on top of that.
Okay.
And that ends my turn.
All right. These guys are up. All right.
Those guys have it rough.
Yeah, a little bit. All right. That guy's going to try to make an attack against Ulfgar. He's trying to shove him off the edge. That's going to miss, though. Let's see here. All right. That's going to bring us to the big guys. That one's going to climb up, and actually he's going to start attacking this building here. kind of destroying that house, and then this one's going to make an attack against that top guy, but that's going to miss. And that brings us to Ulfgar, who sees that you've got this handled, so he's going to dash around the house to engage with that Duragar. Nevis, you're up.
All right, so let's try a melee attack. That is definitely going to hit. That is 27.
27 will hit, yeah, for sure.
He takes 5 bludgeoning.
Okay.
And I want to back up a little bit since I hit him, and then try to hit him with Sacred Flame. So a dex of 16.
All right, dex of 16. Let me double check, make sure they don't have any. See if they have a bonus there at least. He does not.
So he does
So
not
that's a
make
fail. Yeah.
Okay. 3d8s. That is 21.
All right, you killed him.
Nice. One assist.
Yeah.
One.
So you've moved 10 feet. You have the rest of your movement if you want to use that.
I do. 15, 20. I want to dance around the house. I'm assuming I can hear all the commotion of this Duragar, you called it?
Yeah.
Beating up this house's chimney. And,
Yep.
And I'm going to head that direction because I saw Ulfgar run off.
Okay. All right. So we've got the soldiers up. Okay. The big guys are up. This Durgar is going to attack this guy. He's going to try to again. He keeps missing. That one will hit. So that's going to be 11 damage. So that guy is feeling it. And then this one is going to try to attack Ulfgar. That's going to hit. So Ulfgar is going to take 11 more damage. All right. Ulfgar is up. He's going to step there, and he's going to make a pair of attacks against this big guy. One is a nat 20. The other one is an adjusted 18. So both of those are going to hit. That's going to be 30 damage. All right. That brings us to Nevis.
All right. 20. Well, I'm going to stay there so I can use ranged attacks. No, actually, I'm going to go up to attempt to melee him.
Okay.
Since I've got the...
You've got advantage from flanking, and you've got the Blessing of the Forge as well.
Right. see. That's without rolling another die. Does 18 hit him?
Yes.
Okay. Oh. 4 bludgeoning,
Okay.
and since I hit him, I want to back up to here.
Okay.
And then for my spell driver, I would like to try and use let's go with guiding bolt at the 2nd level.
Okay.
So another ranged attack. That is a 26 to hit.
That'll hit.
He gets 5 6s this time. It's like I'm playing Yahtzee. Fuck, I definitely would have had the 4s. 10. Only 10 radiant damage.
All right, that was still enough.
I rolled 4 ones out of 5 dice.
Oh.
Yeah, that sucked.
Okay. I think that was all your movement.
Yes.
Okay. All right. The Dwarven soldiers are going to be up. They're kind of duking it out down here. That last big guy still going to try to attack the other guy. This time he misses. All right. Ulfgar is up. And you see him. He's going to leap off the edge and like smack the Duragar on his way down. So he's going to take he takes a little bit of damage from the fall. But I'm going to give him advantage on the attack. But he misses, actually. That's a shame. All right. Nevis, you are up.
All right. I would like to drop down.
Okay.
Is that still that same 10 feet right there?
Yeah. So do you want to make an athletics check to climb down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oof. 9.
9. Okay. Yeah, you're able to climb down. It's difficult terrain, so it's gonna take 20 feet of your movement to get down. So I think you've got about 5 feet left once you get down to there.
Yeah. Okay. So advance the 5 feet.
All right.
Was that considered my main action then?
No, that's just movement.
Okay. Is this Duragar? Is he wearing metal armor?
That's a great question. Yeah. Yes, he is.
I think I'm within range. Oh yeah, well within range. All right. Let's use heat metal at the 2nd level.
Okay. I gotta look this one up again. It's been a while.
It's a concentration spell, lasts a minute. Basically, I want to hit the armor that he's has on him.
Mm-hmm. Okay. He's gonna take 2d8 fire damage then, because there's no save on this because you did it on his armor. That's. Oh wait, you can roll that one.
Not bad. 10 fire damage.
Okay.
Let's say that if he takes damage from it. Creature must succeed on a con saving throw or drop the object if it can. If it doesn't drop the object, it has disadvantage on all attack rolls and ability checks until the start of my next turn.
Yeah, it can't, so I'm not going to have it make that roll. It's just going to have disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks.
Cool.
Okay. Also, you can use a bonus action on your subsequent turns to cause it to take the damage again.
Right. And for my bonus action on this turn, spell driver, let's Toll the Dead on him. Wisdom
Okay.
16.
He fails.
Nice. Max damage. 16 to... Oh, I'm sorry. That was 8s. I'm probably not going to roll as well with the 12s, right? Oh, no, I did. I got a 12 and a 6. 18 necrotic damage.
All right. He's hurting and burning. All right. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. Let's see this guy. All right.
You also let me know when I have to make the concentrations checks too for the spells, since I'm
Yeah,
not familiar with.
it'll be when you take damage.
Okay.
So he's gonna make a straight roll against that top guy and miss. Okay. Now Ulfgar is up. He's going to make a pair of swings. Actually, he's going to see that that thing's like on fire. He's gonna run down here, and he's gonna actually run there. He's gonna take 2 swings at that dwarf on the end. Damn, those both miss. So it's your turn again, Nevis.
All right. Boy. Let's. I'm going to move next to Ulfgar.
Okay.
That's 20 feet. And then I'll try to melee the one that's currently got the hot foot going.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't 11. That's 10. I'm assuming a 10 is not going to hit him.
10 will miss.
All right. But as a bonus action, this time, I'm going to roll the d8s for more fire damage.
Okay.
Ouch, only 3. 3 fire damage.
Okay.
That'll end my turn.
Alrighty. So let's see. These guys are up. This guy's gonna take that. That guy's gonna get taken out. This guy is going to take that. All right. Big guy's going to turn, and he's going to make an attack against you, Nevis. Well, natural 1, so his war pick is broken. Okay. So that's it for his turn. Now it is Ulfgar. Ulfgar's going to keep trying to work on this dwarf soldier here. One of those attacks is going to hit. That's going to be for 10 damage. All right. You're up again, Nevis.
All right. Main action melee again. That's definitely going to hit this time. It becomes a dirty 20.
Oh, yeah.
And he takes 8 bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
And
he's down.
Oh, okay. And I guess I'll save that 6 fire damage. No, I guess All right. I'm going to move right there
Okay.
because it gives Ulfgar flank advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And still gives me my bonus action, which let's try inflict wounds again.
Okay, on the one in front of you.
On the one, yeah, directly to my north.
Okay.
That's a nice big 25 to hit.
Oh yeah.
These are the goofy looking ones.
3d10, I think, right?
Yeah. Nice. 23
Okay.
necrotic damage.
Took him out.
Woohoo!
All right. So that was everything for your turn, right?
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. So that guy is going to take that, but they basically exchange. This guy is going to step up, make an attack against you, Nevis. See, one of those is going to hit. It's going to be six slashing damage from his sword.
Okay.
And then since you haven't dropped concentration yet on heat metal, you can go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw for me.
Well, the person that the spell was attached to has expired, so does that mean the spell ends?
Not necessarily.
Doesn't necessarily say anything about being able to like move it like Hunter's Mark or anything.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the metal still exists. That's why I haven't had your concentration on it drop yet. That's really kind of up to you. So I just figured I'd give you an opportunity to make a saving throw, since I don't think I've had you make a Constitution saving throw like yet.
Sure. Ooh, that's bad. That's only an 8.
Okay. Yeah, that will drop your concentration because the DC was 10.
It was only for that and not when it really counted.
Right. Yeah. I didn't think you'd be too heartbroken over it. All right. Ulfgar is up. He's going to make his attacks with advantage. So that's going to. It's going to have 2 hits. And that's actually going to take this guy out.
Bodie.
All right. You are up. There is still just the one soldier left.
Yeah, let's start off with a melee on him. That is 15 to hit.
That's going to bounce off of his shield.
10 for Word of Radiance.
Okay.
Con of 16.
Nope. Fail.
Three radiant damage.
All right. He's going to make an attack, a pair of attacks with his sword on you. Does a 19 hit?
Meet the beat it.
All right. That's going to be 6 slashing damage. And then Ulfgar is going to move there. And he's going to make a pair of attacks against the guy. House is kind of in the way for advantage. Those are both going to miss. All right. Nevis, you're up.
All right. Let's use this last first level slot as my bonus action to try to inflict wounds again.
Okay.
Crit fail. Does that mean my spell's broken?
No. All right.
So
What else?
Main action. Let's try inflict wounds at the second level.
Okay.
Wow. 16.
That will miss as well, unfortunately.
It was on a 10 and it rolled over.
What a jerk.
What a jerk, man.
All right. He's going to make his pair of attacks on you, and he's going to miss, which is going to bring us to Ulfgar again. He's going to make a pair of attacks on him. Those are both going to miss, man. I'm rolling really low. You're up again.
All right. Let's try melee.
Okay.
With the shillelagh, that's 25 to hit
Oh, yeah.
for 7 bludgeoning.
Okay.
And what the hell? Let's try that. My last second level spell slot for inflict wounds.
Okay.
That is a dirty 20.
That'll hit.
All right. He gets
So that's
4d10.
4d10. Yeah.
Here we go. $30.
All right. Took him out too. All right. So with that, the battle is over.
I give Ulfgar one of these.
Ulfgar, he thanks you for the help. He, helps, starts helping, the people, rebuild and all that kind of stuff. Clean up the area, help, do take care of the dead, and so that takes the rest of the day, really. What do you want to do? Kind of like after this, like with your family, you kind of stuck around for a little while. What are you gonna do with Ulfgar?
Well, I would like to at least ask him if I can stay the night, so that we can, do a little more catching up. Obviously, I would help him, help the villagers,
Sure.
clean up from the battle. I myself would like to take a long rest
Mhm.
and have a few flagons of whatever he's got laying around the forge, and
Okay.
toast to old times
Yeah.
and new apparently.
All right. So yeah, you guys are able to do that. You spend some time together. Get your long rest in. You're setting out in the morning, I'm guessing.
Yeah, unless there's any reason for me to hang around. He seems like he's got things pretty well in hand, work-wise. So unless he needs me to help him stick around with anything, I'll just be on my way.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. All right. I mean, that's really kind of all I had for today's session. Thank you guys for your your notes and stuff on like what kind of stuff your characters wanted to accomplish. I think that we got a chance to kind of explore some cool things for you guys. I figured out how to add proficiencies to people. So I'm going to be able to do that for you, Xanalor, and Stock.
I already added mine.
Oh, did you? Okay. I need to figure out, Nevis, for you how to do it for like all martial weapons. But otherwise, I can just add all the martial weapons in, just so that way it actually takes your proficiency into account when you have those attacks.
Sure.
But yeah, so that's it. Thanks for playing, guys. As always, Sic Semper Lincoln Logs.